Before we get into it, that's a point of contention for me. You're a car dude who modifies cars and doesn't pay attention to SEMA.
Well, I pay attention to it. I'm not constantly glued to my screen for SEMA. I grew up with the New York Auto Show, so I really like the car shows that aren't trade shows. I think to really love SEMA, I need to go there one year to sort of experience it.
For me, call me jaded. After going to the New York Auto Show and all this time, I get bored with it. The joy of owning a car is modifying it. It was really cool just to be there as a member of the press and everything like that. It was just super cool. That stuff doesn't really light my fire anymore. SEMA is huge because, one, you get to showcase people's creativity. Two, it's all about modifying cars, which is exactly how it should be. I think it's awesome. And I didn't look at everything, but literally just scrolling through Facebook. Oh, look at that cool SEMA build. Let me look into that. That's where I came across 90% of these and stuff like that. Without further ado, our first entrant, I'll let you know a little bit, but as is most of these, 1,000 horsepower. And it's from a company we know and love. It is a custom Ford done by the people we love so much, and that is the Ring Brothers. And they built this insane animal. It's completely custom.
Let's just say that there is no bad Ring Brothers build. They all are ridiculous.
Yes, and they are all awesome. This is started life as a 1948 Chevy Super Truck, or it is a Chevy Super Truck, but it's a 1948 Chevy that really just the body it remains. You can see pushrod suspension in the back. It's got a 510 cubic inch LS from Goodwin Racing Engines, making 1,000 horsepower, and because of those trumpets, it's all good old-fashioned American naturally aspirated horsepower.
Those look like some really good shouty stacks. First off, carbon fiber steering wheel, that looks sick. Not a huge fan of three-piece wheels. Those look amazing. Those are ridiculously good looking, especially with the deep dish mag. I mean, it's got racing slicks. This is absurd at every level of definition of that word. There's nothing bad here. This is just amazing. The shouty stacks, the engine. I mean, look at that. Look at the intricacy in that suspension setup. I mean, you probably put the best one first. This thing is nuts. I love this. I say it because I don't have the money to own it, but I would daily something like that. This is just, imagine just driving this around.
Imagine those slicks in the rain.
I'd probably not put the slicks on it. Remember in Formula One when they had the little grooves in the tires? That's probably what I'd go for. Get some sort of traction. But man, this thing is just gorgeous. The attention to detail is basically second to none. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Doug is a big fan of the color. I actually kind of dig this color, which is weird because one of the upcoming cars here has a similar color, and I hate it. It's Ring Brothers. They know how to build a great modern interpretation of classic muscle. Yes. They've done it time and time and time again. I love a great individual throttle body build that just straight up velocity stacks in the elements because, hey, who cares about tire traction when rain is going into your intake?
Yeah, pretty much.
I love stuff like this. It's old school enough, but completely new school. On to something I'm not a big fan of. And that is this. Now,
this thing.
To the untrained eye, this looks like a 911 GT3.
Oh, yes, but pay attention to the paint scheme.
Right. And to the slightly trained rally fan, that is Subaru colors. Tell from this picture that it's not a Porsche intake, and there's a turbocharger to it. And that's because the glorious, awesome piece that is the Porsche Flat 6 is STI'd. If it hasn't given it away by now, this is a 911 with Subaru power. I know.
I'm with you. Here's the thing. I'm a former Subaru owner. I love Subaru WRXs. I love STIs. I like Subaru Performance. I think it's really cool. The sound is awesome. I like it when they're in Subarus. This is a cool car. The wide body's done really nicely. The wheels look great. I like the paint scheme, obviously. It's very cool. Retro Rally, specifically to Subaru. But the problem is, like, you took a horizontal engine and put another horizontal engine in. That's boring. I know that there are LS swaps for Porsches in there, but, like, why not, like, a horizontally opposed Ferrari V8? Or, I don't know. I get it, and this is probably engineered very well, but I look at that and I'm just like, that's dumb. Put the Porsche engine back in. What are you doing?
So here's the thing. One, this was done by Dev Speed, if that wasn't obvious. The quality of the build is amazing. That color is glorious on a 911. It's really, really nice. Yes. The wheels are okay. I'm not a big fan of chrome lips, but whatever, to each their own. A wide body 911 is just a thing. It's pure, beautiful essence. If you're going to go through the effort of this level of build,
it's ruined by the engine.
That being said, I think that color would look epic on the Mustang.
Yes, I do too. That would be awesome. It's not like quite a Polestar blue, not like deeper. A Rebel blue, but it's also not like a World Rally blue either. It's like right in between those two colors. It's a little deeper than Polestar, a little brighter than like a World Rally blue. It's a really nice color. Big fan.
The next one up that we're going to talk about, and this is actually not a SEMA specific build. It's a heritage car. It's a car that was built to possibly think about going into the world of World Rally Championship. It is a Volkswagen Golf A59 prototype. This was something Volkswagen built when they were considering entering the 1994 World Rally Championship. I love rally cars.
Didn't get to see
I'm a big fan.
This is actually just at the FCP show that I went to. It's a really cool car.
I mean, it looks like Volkswagen said, wait a minute, the Lancia Delta Integrale looks like a Golf. Let's do it.
Pretty much, with that like vertical,
the wing really,
a little hatchback wing,
and it's a wide body, so automatically it looks good. I just like the functionality of where do we need vents in the hood? 3 spots.
Yes.
No more.
Yeah, this was literally like a car that Volkswagen was like, okay, what can we do with the resources at our disposal? And this is what they came up with. It's awesome. I wish I would have saved some of those stories, because they talked about this car in depth, and the engineering behind it is just bananas for the time period. If you find it online, please watch it wherever you find it, because the thing is, like, it is truly special.
That era of rally gave us some of the most awesome cars, and even though this didn't compete, this is pretty darn awesome. I love this horse. This is basically modding at a factory level, which I love it when factories think like us. You know what I mean? That's really cool.
Yeah, agree.
We'll go with this one that might actually, well, I'll just show it. So we have another car. If loyal fans of the viewers should know those colors. That's Bob Sharp Racing colors. That is a Datsun Sunny that is electric from the powerhouse that is the Nissan Leaf. I love electric resto mods. I think in a vehicle like this that isn't like a classic, I think it's a great idea. It makes me interested in a Nissan Sunny when I otherwise wouldn't be. I don't know. You probably love it.
I do love it. I think it's awesome. I would not put a Nissan Leaf powertrain in here. I would probably put like the low grade, Tesla Model 3.
This was done by Nissan though. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was just a Nissan build. So they have reason for it. Cool. Either way, it's still cool. The build itself looks awesome. Fender flares, very cool. Turbofan wheels, very cool. I mean, everything about this is really awesome. The quad headlights, the rear mirrors on the front fenders, everything about this is just awesome. I'm a huge fan, other than the Nissan Leaf powertrain, but knowing that it was made by Nissan, fine, I can get over that. Regardless, this is pretty sick.
Doug,
I'm a big fan of that.
Here's some of the highlights. It has an adapter on it that allows the stock manual gearbox, so this thing is actually a manual. It retains the live rear axle and a custom aluminum drive shaft to transfer the power. The motor and battery are taken directly from the Leaf with absolutely no modification. So good news is, if you have a Leaf, you're capable of making this. The entirety that is the front suspension of this is straight out of an S13 240. For those of us who speak American, it may not make a ton of power, but the instant torque, as we saw in Electricana, it's got to be crazy fun to drive. Originally, I didn't like the fact that it was using Bob Sharp Racing colors, but it's a cool use of an otherwise boring powertrain, so consider me on board.
Imagine driving this to a local show. Every single person would stop and come talk to you. There isn't a single person at that show that wouldn't be like, oh, what is this? Everyone would want to know what this is. Not that you should do it for, like, local meet clout. It's a conversation piece. Like, you bring this to a show, And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they brought it to SEMA and everyone's talking about it, but like, you bring this to like a normal show, people are gonna be like, "Holy shit, this is amazing! What is this thing?"
Moving on to the next vehicle. Now, I'm going to preface this one with to our loyal viewers, you know an engine Gregson wants to play around with. It might have 12 cylinders, it might be courtesy of Mercedes, and in its ultimate form, it was put in, Pagani's. Well, Greg, your wish has been answered.
Ooh, so I know this one. That's a Zonda engine,
Yes, a
isn't it?
Zonda V12.
Can you imagine what this thing sounds
Epic.
like?
I'm going to go with, wait, hold on. I'm going to go on a
Man.
limb and say like a Zonda.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, but better. Because I don't think Zondas came with individual throttle bodies.
I think they did, but it was very similar to like how BMW does their ITBs. They're kind of hidden, so it looks
Okay.
like an intake manifold.
Either way, Zondas are one of the best sounding cars ever made, so not a bad thing. I like everything in the front engine compartment. Everything else around it, I absolutely hate. I don't like, and this is a very unpopular opinion, and everyone's gonna trash me in the comments for it. I don't like FDRX7s. I don't think that they're particularly attractive. It's just an aesthetics thing. I think they're the most overrated 90s sports car. FDRX7 aside, the body design is a little weird. It looks
Yeah.
like a frog in many different ways. There's a lot of different lighting and holes and
So
lips and grills and yeah, you talk because I'm not a fan of this thing.
I think as far as exterior aesthetic, if you're talking about the big 4 or 5 90s JDM classics like GTR, Supra, NSX, I think the FD is second only to the later generations of NSX as far as looks. I really love the look of them. The biggest problem with FDs, in my opinion, has always been the rotary, and this fixes it in arguably the most spectacular way possible.
12-fold.
And I just like how they cut out the fenders just to make it like, yeah, it's a drift car. We showed the first 3 Fast and Furious movies to AI. It told us to design a car. Fair.
Oh, that's so accurate. What a great comment. It's so perfect. It's spot on.
I dig the hell out of FDs. I dig the hell out of this swap. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the paint color. Lime mint green is just no. And the fact that it's all over the inside too is just not a fan. There's the shifter, and Doug says shifter looks too tall to be comfortable. That's probably because it's sequential, and you just want it right next to as you're driving, you want to just pull on gears. I love FDs. I think Rob Dom's looks better than this, because why wouldn't it? It's completely custom. Rob Dom's car is an absolute amazing piece of engineering. It's an amazing sounding car. It's an amazing build. I love everything about it apart. Actually, I do love everything about it because I love 4 rotors because they actually sound good. It's insane, and it should prove as an inspiration to anyone who wants to learn how to work on cars. But the engine probably cost as much as building the rest of the car, if we're being honest, because not only is it an AMG V12, but it's out of a Pagani, which means someone probably had a Pagani that met an unfortunate end. This thing's really cool. I know you don't like it, but we're going to go to our final one. And this is where we said putting Volvo power might be a thing, potentially. Boom. That is a turbocharged K motor, fully built, 1,000 horsepower, big turbo, in a Ferrari.
Yeah. What Ferrari is this, Chad?
I believe this is a 308. If memory serves, this is the Magnum Ferrari.
Correct. So, yes, this is a 308. My dad actually used to have one of these. Not a humble brag. They were actually pretty affordable in the 90s. My dad actually bought his right before the entire market took a massive dump. So he paid about 40 grand for his, and he sold it for 24. And now they're about 170. Not exactly the greatest thing ever, but you can still find them cheap when they are scrapped.
I love the fact that this has touches of the 288 GTO on it. I love the wide body. This is a case where I even love the wide body being riveted on.
There are very few of those, but this is because there aren't 1,000 rivets either.
Right.
There's like, what, 6?
Yeah. Red block 308 with a prancing moose. Done. I would argue built white block just for the sound.
Oh, 100%. If we could do this with a built white block, I would empty the piggy banks.
I love this build. Everything about it. And the best part about this car is that it is functional. This isn't like a SEMA show car that works, but has all the bells and whistles, has a carbon fiber diffuser. This is a time attack car. So this car is going to be raced. And I love the fact that they took a Ferrari, a classic Ferrari, ditched the engine, put in a modern engine, boosted it to high hell, and they're going to go racing against someone who might show up in a GTR, like a R35. I love when builds serve a purpose, and they're unique, and they're one of a kind. Yeah. I thought, when I first saw this thing, K-Motor in a Ferrari, I was like, yeah, okay. Now I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I want this. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Of all the cars that were there, this is probably my favorite one. Like, of the not trucks, probably my favorite genre of SEMA the last couple of years has been mini trucks, because there's been so much cool customization in that realm. It's like having a renaissance, like a rebirth. So I think it's a really cool like area that people are sort of like, getting into now.